Welcome to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. I'm with my dad, Stephen Harvey, once again. Today is Wednesday, June 22nd. Welcome, one and all, to the Harvey Hour. I want to start off with an announcement. Rob Gronkowski of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the 4-time Super Bowl champ and 5-time Pro Bowler, has retired for the second time yesterday with a post to his social media accounts. I want to ask, we both have seen Gronk throughout the years since 2010 when he got drafted all the way up until now. What is something special about Gronk that caused him to be so successful in his 11 years playing?
I would say that it's his competitiveness.
Okay.
That's one thing. And his enthusiasm, right, for the game. He gets his teammates excited. He's very enthusiastic. He celebrates when he does something really good, and he's hard on himself when he makes a mistake. So I think he's an outstanding competitor, Hall of Famer.
That's a given.
And I'm not so sure that he really is going to retire. There's question
You think he
in
may
my
come
mind.
back?
I think he will. I think there's a good chance he will.
Okay. When I think of Gronk, I think of the peak of physicality that an NFL player could have, especially at a position that caused him to do so much. Gronk is probably the one player besides, the all-time great, like a Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White, any of those big dudes on the defense that could block, they can't catch, but he could do all three things that are required at the tight end position. He could block effectively. He did that later in his career with the Patriots. That was his primary role. He can catch, and he could run. People sort of underrate him for his speed because he was 270 at 6'6", but he could fly. He can't make people miss because he doesn't have the agility, but he can get down the field pretty quickly. And you saw that a lot. We talked about this on Monday in the Kansas City game, where he was thrown to twice in the third and longs against the Chiefs. He would just be able to break up the seam. And against the Rams in that Super Bowl, the crowning moment of that Super Bowl was that Gronk catch in sort of triple coverage right down there by the end zone towards the end of the game.
He's clutch.
Absolutely.
Very clutch.
If there was a definition of tank when it comes to human existence, Gronk would probably be there. You might have to say Derrick Henry is sort of a tank, but Gronk was a true tank. At his peak in his career, one person could not tackle him. Not a single person could tackle him. You would need groups of people. At times, 4 guys could barely tackle him. But when he went down hard, though. That's the thing. He has a 6'6" frame,
injuries.
over 270 pounds. He's a 4-time Super Bowl champ, 4-time first-team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowl selection, 92 receiving touchdowns, which is third most by a tight end behind, I believe, Gates and Tony Gonzalez. And he has the most 100-plus yard receiving yard games by a tight end with 32. He also has the most, is it combo touchdowns? Him and Brady have, 15?
Yeah.
I think they passed Jerry Rice in the Super
Montana.
Bowl. Yeah. Gronk he is the pinnacle of what a tight end should be. I think in my book, he's the number 1 tight end. But the reason I say that is because I find that, yes, you might be a great regular season player, like a Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez had 15,000 yards. But he only went to 7 playoff games and lost 6 of them. He didn't play also particularly well in the playoffs. Gronk played in 22 playoff games, and he was phenomenal. He was a key role in almost every single playoff game they played in. And he has the most receiving touchdowns in a season by a tight end with 17 in his sophomore season. That's how much he impacted Brady. I don't think Brady would be as good as he would be without Gronk. Gronk was such a key in the Patriots' offense. I mean, the huge downfall of Gronk was his injury. Just his series of injuries. Even in college, though, he had a lot of back injuries, a lot of crazy injuries, and he missed over 3 seasons worth of games.
Yeah.
He played 11
That's a shame.
years. He had 92 touchdowns he played 11 seasons. In about 8 seasons, he had 92 touchdowns.
It's amazing.
That is phenomenal. Here are a list of some of his injuries. From 2013 to 2021, back vertebrae fracture, arm forearm fracture twice within, I guess they did this out of order because it's January 13th of 2013. Two arm forearm fractures. I don't know why they have that here. I can't even say that. A hip pull, a pedal ankle high sprain, grade 3 ankle sprain, back vertebrae disc hernia, cervical throat mononucleosis. I can't even pronounce these things.
Mononucleosis.
Yeah. ACL tear, grade 3, knee strain, grade 1, thigh hamstring sprain or pull, grade 1, back vertebrae disc hernia again, leg thigh bruise, chest lung bruise, head cranial concussion, grade 1, knee MCL tear, grade 3, back lower lumbar sprain, and then 2 weeks later, the same injury. That was in 2018, sorry. A chest rib fracture, which was last year. A chest lung puncture, which is that same injury. He had that last year. And to conclude his injuries, a back lower lumbar muscle spasm.
Wow. He banged up, that's for sure, but he was tough. He kept coming back, and you wouldn't know that he had all those injuries the way he played. He played at a very high level. Last year, he played at a very high level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Last year, he had 800 yards and 6 touchdowns. And this is from a 32-year-old tight end who's missed 3 seasons worth of games.
Wow. Well, I agree with you. He's number 1 tight end in NFL history. I think he's number 1 now. Tony Gonzalez is close, may have a few more yards than Gronk, but again, Tony Gonzalez played how many years?
He played 17 years.
17 years, and Gronk really only played 8.
8.
Right? And Gronk has 4 Super Bowl rings.
Yep.
Yeah. And some of the catches he made, and the clutch catches he made in big games, I think that makes him number 1.
I think just his sheer dominance, right? Tony Gonzalez, I don't think he was ever really recognized as sort of a blocking tight end at all. I think he was more of that receiving tight end. If you look at his stats, he had several 1,000-yard seasons and several 900-yard seasons. He only had double-digit touchdowns 3 times in his career. Meanwhile, Gronk's had double-digit touchdown seasons in 5 seasons of his career. He also had 4 1,000-yard seasons compared to Tony Gonzalez's 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. They had the same amount of 1,000-yard seasons. So I just think if you take a look, if you really break it down, right? If you really break it down, 92 touchdowns in really, 8 years of playing? Actually, a little bit less than that because it's about
more than 10 a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Tony Gonzalez nothing to take away from Tony Gonzalez. He had 15,000 yards.
11 a year. 11 and a fraction a year, touchdowns.
Right. Gronk had in his career 92 touchdowns compared to Tony Gonzalez's 111 and played in what? If we're saying 8 years, when he played in 11.
8 versus 17.
8 versus 17.
Yeah. Wow.
I think him and Brady could have gone for Marvin Harrison, Peyton Manning's overall touchdown record, which is 122 or something like that?
Yeah.
I think they could have broken that.
Yeah, if Gronk had stayed healthy.
If Gronk had stayed healthy, even if he plays like 2 more years with all these injuries.
2 more years? I don't know.
I mean, he had scored what?
I mean,
13 touchdowns, 2 years.
Tampa Bay, they got a lot of good receivers. So
now they do, especially.
Gronk doesn't get the ball as much as he did when he was in New England.
I feel like the Bucs kind of knew this because in the draft, they also drafted 2 tight ends in the 4th and 6th round. So I feel like they knew that Gronk would probably go this way. Maybe he was leaning towards retiring this year.
I'm not so sure.
You don't think so?
Well, I mean, Brady did this. Now Gronk has done it.
Right.
So Brady came back. We'll see if Gronk stays out. I bet they're lobbying him hard to come back, reconsider.
Well, I think even during the offseason without Gronk announcing his retirement officially, I mean, his agent said independently, not from Gronk himself, just his agent personally thought that if Brady called sort of midway through the season, that Gronk would pick up the phone. And you know what? I think he's right. I think what this is more so is that Gronk, he has a persona of that frat boy who doesn't care at all. You know, he goofs around, right? But he's a seriously intelligent human being. And I think what he's doing, right, is the same thing that most people don't want to do when you get older. Go through the training camp, go through the grind of OTAs, all the meetings and everything like that.
It's a lot of work.
I think, if most NFL players could just play each week, I think there'd be a lot of guys getting to the mid-30s without having to retire in the younger side of 30. Just because I think just the grind of the offseason is what actually wears them down. The actual sport is what people miss.
Practicing is very important, right? Otherwise, they make a lot of mistakes. And getting themselves in fantastic shape is important too, because otherwise they get injured.
That's true.
So that's important. So I don't know. If Gronk thinks he's coming back mid-season, he better have a good workout program going.
Well, I think you talk about practicing not make mistakes. Gronk and Brady, his only quarterback has been Brady. So they know each other for 10 plus years. That's why you saw in the Cowboys game, Gronk was lining up sort of in a blocking stance. Brady literally tells him, stand up. So he gets up, and that's when they did the inside route, because I believe DeMarcus Lawrence was covering him. And he's slow. Gronk's faster than him. He was right at the red zone. They scored a touchdown. Yeah. Because that's the connection they have. So I think just because of that, I think, we're talking about maybe he has fun, has a couple beach parties. He already's had one this offseason. A couple more beach parties, living life for the next couple months. Then probably November, I think Brady calls him, depending on how the season goes. It could be earlier if everything goes to hell.
Yeah.
I think it could be earlier.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't think everything's going to go to hell for Tampa Bay, but I do think he'll get a call, and maybe he'll come back sooner than that. Maybe he'll make a decision he wants to be in there and change his mind like Brady did.
I
see that there's a hair replacement commercial now. Have you seen that on TV?
I have not.
Hair replacement. That's what he's doing a commercial on right now.
I mean, how many of those could you do and be happy?
I don't know. I mean, he wants to be an actor. I think he wants to be in the movies, too. So maybe he's going to head off and do that. But I don't know which movie he's going to be in.
I don't think people would take him seriously as an actor. I feel like that's with a lot of things. Like with social media stars getting into acting, right? No one can take them seriously.
It could be in some sort of comedies.
Oh, probably.
Like that.
He's been in an Adam
Sandler movie, something like that.
Could be. He was in those Subway commercials.
Yeah.
Where Steph Curry's like, it's on the teleprompter because he couldn't read the Brady line. Yeah. like he's a genuinely funny person.
Yeah.
But I think
he's got a great personality.
Absolutely.
Gronk is a brand. It's a brand. Yeah.
Surprisingly, I don't think he has his own.
It's like the Harvey Hour.
Brand.
It's a brand. He's got a brand.
Could be.
Yeah.
His personality is infectious. People just love being around him because he goofs around, but you know what? He likes to have fun. People love that.
Yeah. Well, best luck to Gronk. I think he benefits from having Brady throwing him the ball, too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Plus, Brady could read the defenses, knew when to go to Gronk. Gronk was usually open when he threw it to him.
Right.
So I think he benefited from that, but I do think he's number one.
I think as well. And something that Brady said in his, farewell letter, I guess you would call it, his, praise that Gronk's retiring, is he said that no matter who is covering him, what the conditions were, or whatever the circumstances may be, he always knew that Gronk would be in his spot at the right time no matter what. Yeah. And I think that's one of actually the greatest compliments you can get as a receiver is a quarterback has that much trust and faith in you. And you showed that he knows no matter what, you will be there. And I just think, especially from the greatest quarterback of all time, I think that's the utmost praise.
Yeah.
And you know what? He deserves it. Gronk was very, very dominant. And I think that puts him number one, especially because
you got to work hard to get Brady's trust, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It takes work to get his trust. You got to know what you're doing.
Right.
You got to know all the plays. You got to know where you got to be. You got to run the right route. I think that you got to be an intelligent football player to get Brady's confidence, and Gronk was that.
Yeah, yeah. We're going to take our first commercial break here. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
You have a lot to say. Maybe you've thought, I should start a podcast. Meet Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast ever. It's a powerful mobile app and web tool that lets you record a podcast anywhere and distribute it everywhere. It's great whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out. And it's 100% free. You can record your show straight into Anchor on your phone, iPad, or the web, using any mic you want. Record alone or with friends or co-hosts anywhere in the world. You can add background music and transitions, and your listeners can send you voice messages that you can incorporate right into your next episode. If you want to produce your show using another app, you can upload your own audio directly from web or mobile, and still take advantage of Anchor's totally free podcast hosting. Once your podcast is ready to publish, Anchor can automatically distribute it to every major podcast platform. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, so your listeners can hear your show wherever they want. And on the web, you can see detailed analytics about how people are listening. Plus, you'll get a great-looking profile page where anyone can listen to your podcast or subscribe to it. And if you want to ask your audience to support your work, Anchor makes it easy to collect monthly payments from the people who love your podcast and want to see it grow. You really don't need a recording studio, expensive equipment, or a bunch of technical knowledge to deal with a podcast feed. Just get started and join the diverse community of podcasters already on Anchor. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
Or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe
Interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey, once again. I want to talk about this. Lamar Jackson still has not signed an extension, right? And this is sort of a trend in most drafts. Usually after 3 years, you don't see many first-round picks sign the extension. They push it to the fifth round, the fifth-year option. And then they give an extension. The only ones from 2018, which is his draft, were Josh Allen got one, Raiders left tackle Colton Miller got one, and Lions center Frank Ragnow also got one after 3 seasons. Right? Lamar's going into his, I believe, 4th round, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Yeah, or 4th year.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have an agent, so he's going to do this probably alone.
He doesn't have an agent?
He does not have an agent.
Well, that's not a good... I don't think that's a wise move on his part. But
he was the 32nd pick in the 2018 draft. He did show up to mandatory minicamp after skipping the rest of the offseason workouts. I think, honestly, this is weird. This is a weird situation because the Ravens and Lamar Jackson both say that they want to be together throughout Lamar's entire career, if it could be.
they always say that. They all say that. We want to be together. You know, it's great. I want to finish my career here, all that. Money is what matters.
Absolutely. And I believe it might have been the owner or the general manager. I should have looked this up. But the 5-year, $230 million contract for Deshaun Watson, which we'll discuss Deshaun Watson and the recent news that came out about him in a later segment. The 5-year, $230 fully guaranteed contract completely reset the market for really any player, but in particular quarterbacks. Yeah. Because Deshaun Watson came to the Browns with these 22 allegations at the time, which rose to 24, which there was the potential for 66, but I don't think that's going to be included. But 22 allegations when he got to the Browns and received a 5-year fully guaranteed contract worth $230 million. And Lamar's sitting here saying, I don't have
how
these
I feel about the Browns. You know how I feel about the Browns.
They're a
and their
loser
decision-
franchise.
Yeah, and their decision making. I think
Not
it's
the
very,
best.
Very poor.
Not the best.
They have a very poor track record.
Lamar Jackson is the greatest dual-threat quarterback ever in NFL history. He was the first quarterback to have at least 3,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards in the same season. That's when he won MVP, I believe, in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. He could get franchise tagged in 2023. But I think, well, if Lamar wants, if he wants to stay with the Ravens under a long-term deal, if the Ravens themselves want to have Lamar Jackson on a long-term deal,
Well, what are they offering him? The extension?
nothing has been offered. That's the crazy part about it.
Oh, so they aren't even giving. They
Right
want
now, they're speaking, saying we want to sign you on a long-term deal.
Okay, so they got to make him an offer. Some
no
numbers.
details have come out.
Well, then
It
understand why Jackson hasn't done anything. He doesn't know what the offer is.
An early report had that the two parties, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, were pretty far off on contract deals. And I think the Ravens are very, very confused about how to approach this. Because with the Deshaun Watson thing, it reset the entire market of what a QB's worth. That now players are going to want more and more guaranteed money, almost basically fully guaranteed contracts over long-term deals. Tom Brady never received a fully guaranteed contract. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, none of these players had long-term fully guaranteed deals. But Deshaun Watson did. And because of that, it completely reset it. That's what the upper echelon, like the owner or the GM of the Ravens, that's what he said. He said that, you know what? With that deal, kind of screwed over the entirety of what a quarterback might be worth, and now what young quarterbacks are probably going to be looking for. Because Lamar Jackson's on a completely different level than every other quarterback in the league, because he's a ultra dual threat quarterback.
Well, they need to make him an offer. If they want to do an extension based on the 3 years of his effort so far, then they need to make him an offer so he can consider it.
I think if I'm the Ravens, I'm taking a look at what the quarterbacks out there are compared to what my quarterback is. My quarterback cannot throw the ball particularly well.
I think he's gotten better at it.
Ugh.
What were his stats last year?
He played 12 games because you remember at the end of the year he was hurt.
Yeah.
He averaged, where is it here? He averaged 240 yards a game.
That's not bad.
He threw 16 touchdowns to 13 interceptions.
Oh, that's not so great.
That's not so great. With
how many rushing yards?
His rushing yards, that's down here. Rushing yards, he ran for 767 yards with 2 touchdowns.
Oh, that's pretty good.
He threw for
good.
2,882 yards on 64.4.
Yeah, that's in 12 games. He didn't play 4 games.
He went 7-5 in that span.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, what the Ravens are doing, they're taking a look at it and saying, okay, Lamar Jackson's play type is not one that's long-term. Same thing with Deebo Samuel. He's being used as a dual threat receiver, receiving the ball and handing it off. Especially when you hand it off, you're throwing yourself into people who weigh 350 pounds.
Yeah.
It's a wall of people who are, when you're a running back, right? You are running into contact. You're a receiver. You're running away from the big dudes.
Well, maybe Lamar will alter his game a little bit as he gets a little older.
He's going to need to.
Yeah.
That's what Michael Vick did when he got older. He altered his game to be more of a throwing type of quarterback. And you know what? That benefited him in some, I would say, yeah, it lengthened his career. Because before he really altered his game, right? He was a 1,000-yard rusher in 2006. Right? In 2009, when he came back from being suspended for 2 years for, what was it? League conduct detrimental, I guess they call it, for the dog fighting or whatever. He came back and he was only over 500 yards rushing 2 times,
So he changed his game.
He changed his game, and he needed to.
Yeah.
Because he was getting older, right? I don't know if he was hurt in 2003. He only played 4 games. So that's what Lamar will need to do. And Lamar right now is not the best thrower of the football. That's pretty evident. Yes, he throws 64.4% completion percentage, but he doesn't throw the ball that many times.
Well, that's because he's running it, but he's not gonna run it as much going forward probably, and pass it more.
I think that's what
I don't think he's always had the greatest receivers either.
He doesn't throw it to him.
I know, but
he goes to Mark Andrews.
But his receiving core is not the greatest. It hasn't had any real big names there.
You had Hollywood Brown. You had Sammy Watkins. You had Mark Andrews.
Yeah. Well,
I'd say that's a decent receiving core.
But okay, well, I think that they've got to offer him a deal. He can't say yes to something he doesn't know what it is.
What do you think he's worth, though? Okay, let's say just for the way this is going. Let's say it's a 10-year deal, because that's how most long-term deals are. Let's say 10 years. How much you think he's going to be worth? Because you have to. He was injured last season. He's going to be injury prone if he keeps running the football the way he is.
Yeah.
What do you think he's worth?
200. I don't think he's worth 230 million.
Well, that 230 was over a 5-year span. This is over a 10-year span.
This is over a 10-year span? Well, maybe that. Maybe 250 then, over 10 years, 25
That's
a year.
20. That is severely undervalued.
Over 10 years? Given the kind of quarterback he is?
Patrick Mahomes is making $50 million a year.
Yeah. Well.
Kirk Cousins is making almost, I think, $40 million.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That's fully guaranteed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, not many people get this offer 3 years into their career, so there should be a little bit of a discount, I think, if it was a 10-year deal.
That's
and he
usually
gets it
playing
in
it
his
safe.
third, and he gets it after 3 years of playing.
Well,
I think there should be some sort of a discount. So I don't know. I don't know what the right number is for him. I think he's a talent. I like watching him play. I like his persona. I like him as a player. So I hope he gets a good deal. I'm not sure what the right number is.
I would say the way the salary cap's going, because the NFL is the biggest sport in America right now. And the salary cap's just going to keep going up, and the sponsorships are going to increase the salary cap even more, and the salary cap's going to be, ultra expensive. 3 years' time, the Patriots are going to have over $240 million in cap space. They're going to have almost $100 million next year in cap space alone.
Patriots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, because I'm taking this in a Ravens perspective, I'm giving myself a buffer. I would give a 10-year extension or a 10-year deal, $425 million. That's $42.5 million a year. That gives you some buffer because most quarterbacks are making, like the top tier quarterbacks are making about $46, $48 million a year on these long-term deals.
I'm not sure it's worth that much.
I mean, he's the best dual threat quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, but he hasn't done so well in the playoffs.
He has not. That's
right?
a fair point.
Not a very good playoff quarterback so far.
He's 1-3.
I think if he made it to the Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl, I'd agree with you. But he hasn't done that yet, and he was not very good the first couple playoff runs. Right?
Not at all. It was above 50% one time. Or the second playoff
$42
game
million.
in his first 2 years.
Certainly, my $25 million is too low.
Absolutely.
I wasn't thinking very clearly on that, but I think 42 is too high.
That's
somewhere in the middle there, maybe.
What's crazy, I'm looking at it right now, in 2020, where he won his first ever playoff game, he didn't throw a single touchdown pass. Totally.
Yeah.
He was 0-2.
Did he run for one?
I'm sure he did. He ran in the playoffs for one touchdown.
Yeah. How many yards?
170.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
In two games.
170 in 2 games. That's pretty good.
But in one game in 2019, which was his MVP year, one game was 143 yards. So 2 games worth 170.
So he didn't run that much in the one that he won.
It's 85 yards a game.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's still an insane number for a quarterback to have 85 yards a game. But I just think he's not the best thrower of the football. Yes, and people are going to come at me, right? I have my friends coming at me saying, look at that throw. Okay, it's one throw. One singular throw. Andy Dalton, when he was on the Cowboys, had that phenomenal throw along the sideline. I think it was to Michael Gallup, who mossed somebody. That was one throw. You're not going to say Andy Dalton's a phenomenal thrower of the football. I just think Lamar, that's going to be what hinders him. That's what's going to keep him from being, the highest paid NFL quarterback ever, is because of that. And
I don't think he'd ever be the highest paid ever. He's not the same as Mahomes.
I think the dual threatness would, that's the thing with Debo.
Dual threat is good, but Mahomes is a much better passer.
That's true, but I think it's the same thing with Debo. Debo, it was, I guess, because he's going to stay with the 49ers. Debo was probably expecting this huge payday, the most guaranteed money for a receiver ever, the one of the biggest contracts for a receiver ever because he's a dual threat. I think that's probably what Lamar's thinking. I'm the only quarterback in history to have a 3,000-yard passing season and 1,000-yard passing season together.
Rushing,
sorry.
Yeah.
I just think that I honestly think, but you know what?
What is Debo Samuel's situation right now?
He's
asked for a trade, right?
He asked for a trade, but he showed up to minicamp. He showed up, and I think he's going to stay with the 49ers at least this season. But
so they're not giving him any more money? What's his situation contract-wise?
Contractually, let's see. I'll look that up right now.
I think that guy's a beast. I'd love to
think
have
as
him on
well.
the Patriots.
I think anyone would like to have him on his team. Debo had a 4-year, $7.2 million contract.
That's all?
Well, yeah, well, that was his rookie deal.
Yeah. So they got
one more season. That's basically $4 million.
They're getting their money's worth out of him, that's for sure.
Oh, 100%. I think that's why he was expecting this huge payday if he got out.
Yeah.
If they were able to get a trade for it. And I thought, apparently the Jets did call about giving them the 10th pick. I don't think you should have given all because it was the 10th pick for
I wouldn't
Debo.
give him up for a draft pick. You have to be trade for picks and also a proven player. Take that guy. That guy is he's cut above most other players, that's for sure.
Well, the Jets don't have many known talented players. So I think that's why they're trying to get Debo.
Well, that's why they probably couldn't get the deal done.
Well, the deal was 10th for Debo straight up.
Well, I don't think that's not enough.
No, that's what I thought. I'm like, seriously, you were only willing to give up one pick? One?
Yeah.
And number 10, I would say a first, a third, and a decent player.
Yeah.
I would have given up a cornerback, a second or a third cornerback, because you got Sauce Gardner at pick 4. So you already had your next cornerback 1. Why not trade one for that? A first, a third, and a cornerback.
Yeah.
Say because the 49ers had a problem at cornerback. There was the dude that dropped that interception that actually ended up costing them the game at the end.
Yeah.
It went right through his hands. It was in the middle of the field. I forgot who it was though. Was it Tarrant? I'm forgetting.
I don't remember.
But
I don't think the 49ers don't want to trade him because he's like a franchise player. I mean,
absolutely.
Actually, you could make the argument he's their best player. Right?
You could probably put Kittle close up there.
I don't think so. Not compared to Debo Samuels. I think he's a game changer. He really is. Look at the Packers game against the Packers, man. He was the difference. He really was. He got those yards when they needed him, right down near the end of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to keep the Harvey Hour going. We're not going to commercial break right now. I want to do a new segment on the show that I'll be doing throughout the NFL season when it comes up. I like to call it Nate's Notches. Right? We're going to back up here real second. We're going to do my lowest tier right now. This is my lowest tier. This is the teams that I think are probably some of the worst in the NFL. And one might shock you, but I really think this team is not as good as it seems. I think all these teams are going to lose their division, and I feel very, very confident. But let's start with the worst teams in the NFL. Then I'll explain the one that people are going to be looking at saying, what? Really? You think that?
I know which one that is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Falcons. They're a complete mess right now. They have Marcus Mariota, who's a bridge quarterback at their quarterback position. They lost Calvin Ridley due to a gambling situation. He's suspended for a year. All you have is Kyle Pitts on the offensive side. You got rid of Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan wanted to leave because you were looking for
Did they draft a quarterback?
Yes.
Is it a good quarterback? Somebody that has a chance to be really good?
Why do I think it's Malik Willis? I really think it's Malik Willis. If I'm not mistaken, it is... I can't find it here. Oh, no, it's the Titans. I'm an idiot. They did draft one, but he was the other... Yeah, I don't know why I thought Malik Willis. But yes, they did draft a... They did draft a quarterback, but I just think Marcus Mariota will be the starter because I think he could...
but there might be somebody, if they had somebody who was has a chance to be really good, that could be a building. It's a building year for them.
Yeah. So that's why I think...
agree. They're terrible. Next.
The Panthers. Panthers have a bad quarterback situation. Sam Darnold. They really have no one on the offense.
They may wind up with Baker Mayfield, though.
They could.
If they get him, I don't know. I still think that I don't know. I don't think they'll make the playoffs even with him.
Oh, I don't think so. I think the NFC is just.
I mean, they only have Christian McCaffrey. I feel sorry for him. They give him the ball every play. He gets banged up and gets hurt.
Yeah. The Bears, Justin Fields. We don't know how he'll look. Defense is looking shaky.
I think he's questionable.
They lost Malik Willis in the offseason, so their defense is going to be a little bit crippled. You lost Allen Robinson as well, who just didn't want to be there. They didn't even throw it. I think he had 60 targets last season.
Yeah. The Bears have never been any good.
No.
It's the longest period of time they have not been good.
The mid-'80s was their best.
Well, they made the playoffs a few years back.
Well, they made the playoffs with Mitchell Robinson.
They fired that coach, though. The coach that got them to the playoffs, he's gone.
Yep, he's gone.
Right.
I believe he's the DC of the Bills.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Matt Nagy. I'm going to look that up right now. Matt Nagy. I'm
so
pretty sure.
I agree that the Bears stink. They're not going to be...
Oh, he's the
good
quarterbacks
next
coach
year.
of the Chiefs. I'm seeing here. That's his position. Let's continue though.
The Jaguars have a new coach. Who's that new coach?
Doug Peterson.
Yeah, he's not a bad coach, but I still don't think they're going to do anything.
Yeah, that's why they're at the bottom of the list. I'm going to skip over the Steelers, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Seahawks, complete mess. Lost Russell Wilson. They Geno Smith's their starting quarterback. I thought Baker Mayfield wouldn't be a good fit there. There were rumors that they were looking at getting Baker Mayfield. I just don't think that would be a good fit. Their O-line sucks. The running game is not good at all. Their defense is terrible. Jamal Adams, the Jets won that trade by 18,000 miles. That trade that they stole, that's the reason why they had the 10th pick. That was the Seahawks pick.
Yeah.
So I just think, you know what, the Seahawks defense is definitely lackluster. They lost Bobby Wagner to the... I completely forgot Bobby Wagner's on the
how
Rams.
about Metcalf? They still have him.
Metcalf and Lockett are the only true talents on their team right now.
Yeah. But Geno Smith throwing him the ball, I don't know.
The Lions.
How old is Geno Smith? He's getting up. Must
He's
be
up
almost
there.
30 years
up there.
old.
Yeah, I'll look that up right now for you. Geno Smith. The Lions, though.
No, they ain't going to be any good.
31. No, I had a lot of faith in the Lions because I thought Jared Goff is a better... I wouldn't say he's better quarterback. He's definitely not a better quarterback than Matt Stafford. I just think, you know what? It's a new time. The Lions got all these draft picks. They drafted Jameson Williams. He had an ACL tear for Alabama. I believe it was in the... It might have been... Wasn't it? I can't remember if it was in the championship game. But Jameson Williams had an ACL tear who he's trying to get back onto the field. I just think the Lions, they could be a good team, but I just think with the situation here, I think they're a bottom team. They may lose the division. They may be third, depending on how the season turns out, but they're definitely not up at the top of the division. My next tier.
No, wait a minute.
What
about
the Steelers? Oh, yeah, I completely forgot. The Steelers.
The Steelers made the playoffs last year, Nate.
The reason I'm saying that the Steelers are at the bottom is because if you look at their division, I think, I'm willing to admit, if Deshaun Watson gets suspended a full year, which it's looking like it is, the Browns, because Jacoby Brissett would be the quarterback too. It's Jacoby Brissett and Joshua Dobbs. Those are the backup quarterbacks. They could sign one in free agency. They could, but they already signed two in free agency. They got rid of Case Keenum, who's essentially the same.
Isn't it Mitchell Trubisky is going to be their starting
quarterback.
quarterback?
I'm talking about the Browns right now.
Oh, the Browns, yeah.
So if Deshaun Watson gets suspended, I think the Browns could be third or fourth, meaning the Steelers would be in that other spot. But if Deshaun Watson does not get suspended, the Ravens are better, the Browns are better, and the Bengals just came off a Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
They're going to be better because they're going to grow as a team.
Yeah, well, the Bengals will probably they'll win the division.
The Bengals upgraded their one deficiency, which was their O-line.
Yeah.
So I think the Bengals are definitely going to be probably at the top. Then my guess would be the Ravens.
Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season.
I think this is where it is because you have Mitch Trubisky as your quarterback.
Yeah, and he has a great defense.
The defense is the
great
strongest
defense,
suit there.
and who knows? Maybe they've got some offensive play. Maybe they'll come up with somebody in the draft that's good on offense, and maybe they have who's a running back? They have a good running back.
Najee Harris.
Yeah, he's pretty good, right? And he made the playoffs last year with Ben, who was at the very end of his career.
Yep.
He didn't have a very good season, so I think you might. I don't know. I think the Steelers are better than that ranking at the bottom tier.
Well, if you take a look at the division, right? who are they going to pass in the division? If everyone on the team is there.
They can beat the Browns.
No.
I think so. I think they
Kareem
could beat
Hunt,
the Browns
Nick Chubb,
twice. I
Mark-
think they could beat the Ravens once.
Oh my God! No.
And I don't think they'll beat the Bengals. Who else is in the division there?
Bengals, Browns, Steelers, Ravens.
Okay, well, I named what they could do.
You saying they could beat the Browns twice with or without Deshaun Watson?
Without Deshaun Watson.
Okay, then that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But let's say Deshaun, because we'll talk about it literally in the next segment after a commercial break a little bit later, that he quietly settled 20 of the 24 cases against him.
Yeah, I still think the NFL needs to do something to set. They can't just overlook what he did.
Oh, absolutely. But
they're going to suspend him for some period of time.
I agree.
I doubt it may not be the whole season. Maybe it will be the first 6 games or something like that. Yeah.
Could be true.
Yeah.
But I think just if you take a look at the division, if everyone is there, just say everyone is there, this Nate's notches will fluctuate throughout the season depending on how good the teams play.
I think that it's a stretch to put the Steelers down in the bottom tier.
I just have a
because
funny
the next tier aren't playoff teams either, you don't think, right?
Well, we'll get to that. So right now, the next tier is the Jets, Titans, Saints, Texans, Jets, Saints, Texans, Titans, Giants, Browns, which are there, Patriots, Washington football team, or what are they called? The Washington Commanders now, Cowboys, Eagles, Cardinals, Vikings, Dolphins. Now, this tier is sort of split up. The top of this bottom tier is the ones that are more likely to be good compared to the bottom.
Yeah.
The bottom are the ones that are disappointments,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, well, I think I would have swapped the Texans for the Steelers to move them up into this next end of that second tier. But,
I like the Texans a lot.
yeah, why? They played crap last year.
Davis Mills was a surprisingly, he was the second best quarterback in the draft, above Trevor Lawrence. Not Mac Jones is number one.
Above
Obviously.
Trevor Lawrence?
Above Trevor Lawrence. Davis Mills had a surprisingly good year. If you
in terms of his performance, but in terms of his drafting, he got drafted when? What?
same year.
Same year, but what number?
When did he get drafted?
Trevor Lawrence was the number 1 pick.
Exactly. He got drafted third round, 67th overall.
Third round. Okay.
He did go 2-9, but he had over 2,600 yards, 16 touchdowns, 10 interceptions for the Texans.
Who else do the Texans have at quarterback? They had
I don't think anyone.
Tyrod Taylor.
No, he was on the Chargers. Oh, was he back? I don't think he was back on.
No, he was on the Houston. He was on Houston.
He used to be on
last year.
Houston. Let's see.
He played terrible, but
yeah, let's switch by position. Tyrod, yeah, he didn't play. Yeah, wow, he played. Yeah, he played okay. Traymon Smith and Tyrod Taylor.
yeah. So maybe Mills will be their starting quarterback.
I think he will, but I think the Texans.
I don't think they're going to do much.
I'm not saying they'll do a lot.
Yeah.
That's why they're at the bottom of the bottom mid tier.
I think you got the Jets in the right place. They're going to be better.
They're going to be third in the division.
They should be better if their coaching is decent. That's questionable in my mind whether their coaching is really any good or not.
Fair.
The Titans, I think the Titans were in the number 1 seed last year. And
Do you see how disappointing they were?
Well, they have their quarterbacks questionable. I admit
Opening
that.
throw was an interception for Ryan Tannehill. And Ryan Tannehill is starting
you
to
don't think they're
going to
make the playoffs? You don't think they'll make the playoffs?
I think they might be the 2, maybe the 1 seed. Maybe.
Then why are they ranked so low then?
We're going to see in the next thing because the next ones are basically definite playoff teams.
Okay, well, I
don't think the Titans are a definite playoff team.
You don't think they're a definite playoff
Absolutely.
Even though the year they had last year without Derrick Henry for most of the year?
You see how disappointing they were? And no, the reason why right now I do not like the Titans. Ryan Tannehill has come out as a toxic person. When Malik Willis got drafted, Ryan Tannehill said, "It's not my job to mentor the next quarterback."
Well,
That
Ryan
is a
Tannehill,
toxic personality.
Yeah, they might have been wise to ditch him and pick up Baker Mayfield. That would have been might have been a better. But they have him. He can hand off to Derrick Henry all day long. They have a great defense. They'll win 8 games by just doing that, I think. And then they'll find a way to win another 3 or so. They're going to make the playoffs, I think.
It's close, but I'm not.
The Browns,
I'm not
I
sold.
agree. I don't know why you didn't put them down the bottom tier.
Browns, because
They stink. Well, because you think Deshaun Watson's going to play.
Myles
Right.
Garrett on defense, he was one of the best defensive linemen.
Yeah, but
they have a pretty good secondary, sort of top in the league.
Yeah.
You have Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt,
Yeah, but
Amari
they played
Cooper,
crap.
Deshaun Watson.
They played crap with all those guys.
Because Baker Mayfield, well, first of all, they didn't have Amari Cooper. Myles Garrett.
They may not have Deshaun Watson. I'd say he's going to be suspended for part of the season.
At the moment, he's not suspended, so we have to continue with the notion that he will be playing because he hasn't been officially suspended. That's why they're there. I just think, you know what? Let's say it is Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett won some games with the Dolphins, and the Dolphins were upgraded this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, you know what? Even with that, you still have Amari Cooper. You have Donovan Peoples-Jones. You can hand the ball off to Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. We're some of the top running backs in the league right now.
Yeah, well, I'm predicting the Browns. You don't have them as a playoff team.
They're close.
They're close.
But
Well,
the AFC, almost any team in the AFC could be a playoff team.
okay, the Patriots definitely, I think, will make the playoffs.
Nope. Close, but no.
I think they're going to make it. Yeah.
They have no OC or
what's
DC.
What's the next logo? I can't read it.
The W one?
No, the one right beside the Patriots.
The Eagles.
Oh, the Eagles.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna. I don't think they'll make the playoffs.
I have them. Well, the NFC East Every single NFC East team is in
They
this
all
thing.
stink except
all
the
suck.
Cowboys.
That's why the Eagles are at the top of the bottom mid-tier because I think they have the best shot at winning the division.
Really? Over the Cowboys?
They have a better receiving core than the Cowboys do.
They have not as good a quarterback.
They were the number one running team last year. The only problem is their defense and the
Their
dependability of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I like Jalen Hurts, though. And I think with A.J. Brown, they could be a serious threat.
I don't think he's a very good passer. And I think he chokes in the clutch.
Well, when you're up against the Buccaneers, who were the best team last year, it's hard. It's hard to play against outplay Tom Brady.
You don't think Arizona make the playoffs?
Close, but I think you'll see in the next tier. There's two teams in their division that will stop them from doing that.
Okay, the Saints.
The Saints,
The Aints.
Yeah, the Aints.
They ain't going to make it, huh?
because they've Jameis Winston at quarterback. Their defense is good. Their offensive line's good.
They have a good running back. If he plays, right? He's in trouble legally, right?
I don't understand what's happening with that. I gotta do research on Alvin Kamara, but I just think
the Giants, I agree. I don't know why they're not in the bottom one.
Because they had some serious upgrades.
And
the Vikings and the Dolphins are the last two for you.
the next one is the Commanders.
The Commanders, yeah.
They're probably in the right spot. I think Dallas is a playoff team.
I think it would be close for the NFC.
Yeah. Then what's the next one?
Vikings.
That's probably in the right spot. And then Miami, I don't know. They're always you never know with them, right? They haven't been you know that they generally aren't very good.
Against the Patriots, they're great.
And the Patriots start at Miami.
They do for the second year in a row.
Yeah. So we'll see what
It's
happens.
weird how that turned out.
All right. Well, let's move up a tier.
Move up a tier. These are the definite playoff teams in my eyes. Every team in this list
The Colts?
could be a playoff team.
The Colts?
Yes.
They didn't make the playoffs last year.
Because they had Carson Wentz as their quarterback.
Yeah. And who's their quarterback this year?
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan. That's an upgrade.
That's a huge upgrade.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor coming off the best running back year that he's ever had. Michael Pittman as your wide receiver 1, essentially. I think T.Y. Hilton might be coming
Who
back
else
for
is
another
in
year.
the Colts division?
What are they? I don't want to say AFC South. Yeah, I'll look this up right now. But I think, let's look this up. Is it AFC South? Yes. The AFC South is comprised of, I don't know why it's just giving me the Colts. Texans, Colts, Jaguars, Titans. The Colts will be above the Titans.
Yeah. It's a weak division,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, maybe they'll make it. And the Raiders you've got in there?
The AFC, what are the AFC West they are?
That's a tough division.
Every single one of those teams, I think they're all here, right? Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, and Raiders. Yeah, they're all in this division.
They're all going to make the playoffs?
I'm not saying they would all make the playoffs. This tier is every single one of these teams could make the playoffs.
I thought you said they were locked. They were going to make the playoffs.
Well, I don't think every team in the division can make the playoffs.
Well, then you shouldn't have them all in there.
But I think each one of these teams could make the play.
All right. I understand. So I think the Raiders, I'm not so sure because they got a brand new coach, and that guy, he's as a head coach, I'm not so sure. As an offensive coordinator, he had a really good run because he had Tom Brady for many years. But as a head coach, he failed his first time around. We'll
Tim
see.
Tebow.
Yeah.
But no. On the Raiders thing, Devontae Adams.
Yeah, they have good talent.
Derek
I
Carr,
admit that might get them over the
Chandler Jones.
That might get them over the boneheaded coaching decisions. With those players they have. They have a lot of good players.
Brady couldn't overcome a bad decision by Bill Belichick against the Eagles in the Super Bowl. He threw for 505 yards and couldn't win.
I know.
So even if you're a great player, sometimes your coach is the one that makes the decision that could. Sometimes you can't even overcome your coach.
Yeah.
But Devontae Adams, Chandler Jones, they have, oh my God, what's his name? Max Crosby, Devontae, and then Derek Carr. And then
they got a lot of
decent
good
running
players.
back.
Yeah. Kansas City, I think they will make the playoffs. The Broncos, I'm not so sure. I think that they have the Russell Wilson now, but the rest of their team, I don't know. Who else do they have that's great?
Jerry Jeudy.
Okay, he's pretty good. Yeah.
Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
They have Javonte Williams, I think, is there. No, I actually don't know who the running backs are.
Okay. I think San Francisco will make
Decently
it.
good defense.
I'm not so sure about the Chargers. they're up and down, and they picked up some good players, right? And,
J.C. Jackson,
yeah, they got him, but they picked up
Khalil Mack.
Yeah, and they picked up what's his name? He used to play for the Patriots, linebacker
Kyle Van Noy.
Kyle Van Noy. He's probably not the greatest, but
He had
I
6
like
sacks last year.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe they'll make it. I don't know. The Ravens, I think they have a good chance. And then who's that last one?
The Packers.
The Packers, yeah, I think they have a good chance too, just because of the division they're in. Yeah. Okay.
Next here. These.
Anything else you want to say about that, Tia?
The Packers are the ones that I'm most scared about in this list. They have no receivers. 0.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is it, and Aaron Jones.
You feel confident about the Broncos?
I feel very confident the Broncos could be a playoff team. Honestly, in this list, for the AFC West teams alone, the Broncos have the best shot to make a deep run. You'll see. You'll see.
I don't know.
In the I understand the Broncos don't have the Legion of Boom, but in the Legion of Boom year, who is the leading receiver for Russell Wilson?
Leading receiver for Russell Wilson in what period of time?
During the Legion of Boom, when they won the Super Bowl.
Lockett.
Tyler Lockett, right?
Yeah.
Would you say Tyler Lockett and Jerry Jeudy are that much different? Tyler Lockett, I mean, Jerry Jeudy I think is taller than Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
I understand he got hurt, but 6'1". Let's see Tyler Lockett.
Who else do they have? They have 2. Cortland Sutherland.
5'10". Cortland Sutton, yeah. Let's look up Sutton. Cortland Sutton. He had 1,000-yard season before he got hurt.
Yeah.
He got hurt in 2020, and then in his comeback year, he had 776 yards, 2 touchdowns.
They have Noah Fant as their...
they traded him to Seattle with the
really?
Russell Wilson trade.
Wow. So who do they have for a tight end?
That's a good question. I'm not quite sure. Actually, I have no idea. Look it up right now. Any other problem you have with any of my picks?
It's interesting. We'll see what the next tier is.
I want to look up this position for you, because I have to look up the position specifically. They have a fullback and tight end named Andrew Beck.
Yeah. So they don't have much at tight end.
Well, they have a lot of tight ends.
No, but Eric many
Thompson,
good.
They have, I can't pronounce the name, Albert Okewugunabunam. I can't pronounce
I don't know
that
name.
They don't have any good
proven tight ends.
Yeah, at really any known ones. They have some decent receivers though. They have KJ Hamler, who's okay. They have Hinton, who's okay. Judy, who's good. Tim Patrick, who's good. Cortland Sutton, who was proven 2 years ago before his injury.
Okay.
Next tier. These are the teams that rival my Super Bowl pick, which you could probably already guess.
Yeah, well, there's only one team left.
Exactly.
We know which one that is.
But these are the teams that are probably the number one contenders behind my Super Bowl favorite. The Rams, who I think are going to win the division. Their defense is improved. Their offense is improved. The Bills should have beaten the Chiefs last year. Should have. And I think they could have beaten the Bengals.
Coaching errors.
Yeah, coaching errors. Yeah, exactly. So I think, and I said last year, the Bills are the one team that needs to win desperately. Desperately need to win. And so that's why I think they got to be up here above everyone else.
I don't think they make it to the Super Bowl. The Bills.
I think they probably have the best shot.
I think the Bengals have a better shot to get to the Super Bowl than the Bills.
Von Miller pick up. You have Gabriel Davis who could come off of that.
I think they're a great team, but I just don't think they got I don't know what it is about the Bills. I just don't think they're going to get to the Super Bowl.
Could be.
I think the Bengals are going to be hungrier than the Bills.
We'll see how the season turns out.
Yeah.
But my Super Bowl pick, Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, now Russell Gage, who shredded them against the Bucs defense. They lost Ndamukong Suh, but replaced him with Akeem Hicks. You lost JPP as well as Ndamukong Suh.
Really? JPP is not with them?
He's a free agent. No.
Well, who did he go to?
He's a free agent. No,
he still hasn't signed yet.
No.
Well, he may be back with them.
He I believe he went to he was looking at the Ravens as a potential landing spot, and Ndamukong Suh was thinking about the Raiders as also. He said that the Raiders would be nice. But Shaq Barrett, you still have Devin White, you still have Levante David, you have that young.
Their secondary is still
the biggest question mark on the team.
You'd think they would have fixed that by now.
Well, now you have
How about
Todd
the head
Bowles
coach?
Todd Bowles. I think Todd Bowles will stick sort of to the defensive side of the ball and let Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady really run the offense. Because that's what Bill Belichick did with Josh McDaniels. McDaniels ran the offense. Bill Belichick was just there.
That'll be a smart move, too. I think that's the right way to go.
So
you might be right on the Super Bowl pick.
I mean, just the way history's repeated
Who are they going to play?
Well, then in this it would be the Bills then.
Bills, yeah.
I think
it's the Bengals.
I still think, regardless, I think the Bucs could win. Because
Might be the Patriots.
The Patriots. I want to talk about the Patriots because you had a problem with them being in my below to mid.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed in you.
They don't have an offensive coordinator. They don't have a defensive coordinator.
That doesn't matter.
It does matter.
There's somebody that's going to play that role. I just don't have the title.
But who's going to be responsible for what? Who's going to answer? Like, if everything goes wrong, who's going to be the one to answer for it? If they don't have an OC or a DC, who's going to be held responsible for the mistakes?
Well, Belichick will know who that is. He'll know who he put the responsibility with, and he'll make whatever corrections are necessary. I don't think that I think you're making too big a deal out of that the title thing.
I think titles are important.
I
think titles are important.
Yeah. I'm not sure Belichick doesn't seem to think it makes that much difference, and he's proven it doesn't make that much difference. He's had some great defenses without somebody named as defensive coordinator, right?
Yeah, but look at the defense.
The defense was very good last year.
They fizzled out at the end of the year.
At the end of the year, they got tired. I admit they did fizzle a little bit, and they had some injuries too, right at the end of the year. So, Kyle Duggar was hurt
in the early 2000s. Do you remember who the DC of the Patriots were?
Early 2000s.
Early 2000 when they won the 3-time Super Bowl run.
Time Super Bowl run. That would have been. Charlie Weiss was the offensive coordinator. Who was the defensive coordinator?
No one was listed as the defensive coordinator.
Oh, really? Nobody was listed.
But Brian Daboll, who is, I believe, isn't he the Giants head coach right now?
Yes.
He was the defensive assistant.
Yeah.
He's
a good coach.
That was the other notable one. That was 2000. 2001, they had an official one, Romeo Crennel.
Yeah.
2002 was still Romeo Crennel. 2003 was again, like, when they won the Super Bowl several times, they had an official DC early in 2000s. And it also helped that their defense was some of the best in the league. Mike Vrabel, you had Teddy Bruschi, you had Willie McGinnis, you had Ty Law, you had Richard Seymour, you had, who am I forgetting? Rodney Harrison. You had these tremendous Hall of Fame level talents. Tony Bantakane eventually. You had all these great talents that you didn't really need an official DC.
They have to have it, huh?
Well, I just think it helps for responsibility. I think a key part of that is, you know what?
Well, they have Matt Patricia is there. I'm sure he sits upstairs in the booth. He's going to be.
He's offense now. He's offense now. We said he's looking. He's probably the
Matt Patricia. I thought it was Joe Judge was the offense guy.
We talked about it on the show that Matt Patricia came out as the leader for a potential offensive coordinator.
Yeah, well.
Which is, he started off as an offensive guy. Then Bill Belichick switched him to DC. Then when he was head coach, he failed, and now he's back at coaching offense.
He's a smart guy.
I mean, I can't. I'm starting to believe. I said this on the show. I'm looking at the Patriots being an 8-9 team, 9-8 team, because the AFC is too hard. I just think the Patriots defense, they lost, in my opinion, the best cornerback in the league right now. 17 interceptions in 2 years. Some of the lowest passer ratings when thrown to the guy who J.C. Jackson was guarding.
Yeah, he was an undrafted free agent, right? So they taught him how to play the position, and he played it very well. They may have to come up with somebody else like that. They're bringing back Jonathan Jones is coming back, right? He was hurt last year. They have Mills, right? He's pretty good. They have Duggar, right? They have Devin McCourty's coming back for another year. I think they have pretty solid secondary, right? I think it's pretty solid. There's a couple more players in there. I bet he comes up with somebody too that We don't know yet. Oh, what's the other guy? Phillips. He's back there. He's good.
Malcolm Butler.
Yeah, Malcolm Butler's back. True. I bet he'll have a good season. I bet because he wants to prove everybody that I think he was signed for 2 years. Yeah.
You lost your leader on defense, Dante Hightower. He's still out there.
Yeah, he may wind up back with them.
You lost Kyle Van Noy, who gave you 6 sacks.
Yeah. But you still have Judon.
You have Judon. You have Juwan Bentley.
Juwan Bentley.
You got
maybe they've got a
you have Mac Wilson, who came from the Browns.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be that good. Yeah. They only had to give up Winovich to get him.
Winovich was somewhat successful, but I really do not see the Patriots keeping up with the rest of the AFC. I think they'll.
Well, let's look at their record. Let's look at their schedule.
Patriots schedule, sure.
We'll count off the wins.
Go for it. Patriots schedule 2022, because this is officially came out. Let's scroll down on this list here. Here we go. Week 1 at Dolphins.
Win.
Week 2 versus Detroit.
Win.
Or is this week 2?
That would be at home, right?
Yes, this is. Actually, no, that's not week 2. Sorry, week 2 is at Pittsburgh.
At Pittsburgh, that's a win.
At versus Baltimore.
Maybe not.
At Green Bay.
Maybe not.
That's what, 2 losses?
Yeah.
I'll count the loss. You count the wins. Versus Detroit.
That's a win.
At Cleveland.
That's a win.
Versus Chicago.
That's a win.
At Jets.
That's a win.
Versus Colts. Loss. Don't even go there. Don't even go there. That's a loss.
All right, next.
Bye week versus Jets.
Again, they win.
At Minnesota.
They win.
Versus Buffalo. Loss.
That's a loss, maybe.
At Cardinals. Loss.
Not so sure. I think they might. I don't know. How many games are left?
No,
how many games are left? They got 8 wins right now.
This is you. You want to say?
How many games are left now
1,
after
2,
Arizona?
3. There's 4.
Okay, who's next after Arizona?
At Las Vegas.
I think they win that game.
Versus Cincinnati.
Maybe not.
How many do you have right now?
They got 9 wins.
9 wins, so that's what?
How many? They got 1 more game, right? Who's
they
the last?
They have 2 more games.
Okay, what are the next one?
Versus Miami.
They win that.
At Buffalo.
They'll probably lose. That's 10 wins. They're going to make the playoffs.
Not a shot. Not a shot.
Yeah, they're going to win 10
At
games.
Miami, they can't win Miami. That's a loss to open the year. At Pittsburgh, I'll say that they win that one, because I just think that Mac Jones will outplay Mitch Trubisky. So 1 win, 1 loss. Versus Baltimore, you say they beat it. Not a single chance. That's another loss for the Patriots. At Green Bay, loss. Versus Detroit, win. Cleveland, I'm giving them a loss on that one.
Oh, come on. They're going to beat Cleveland.
If Deshaun Watson plays,
well,
that's
you
going to be
don't
a
know
loss.
that.
He hasn't been suspended yet, so I have to keep going with the fact that he's there.
I predict he will be suspended.
For Chicago, that's a win. Jets, win. Colts, loss. Bye week versus Jets again, that's a win. Minnesota's tough because they have Dalvin Cook. They have Justin Jefferson. On this list, however, though, I have them above it, so I will give them the win.
Okay, keep going.
That's 6 wins for me versus Buffalo. That's a loss. Cardinals. They beat them last time, so I'll say they beat them again. Actually, did the Cardinals? They are Marquise Brown. I'm saying loss actually on that one. Las Vegas, that's a loss. Cincinnati, loss. Versus Miami, they win. And I'd say, I'll say they split at Buffalo, so I'll give them the win.
Okay, how many wins?
8 and 9.
8 and 9.
8 and 9.
I think you're wrong. 10 and 7.
I still think they'll be second in the division. I still think that because the Jets are probably going to win 6 games at most, and I think the Dolphins will win 5 or 4 just because I think Tua is not a good quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with
that. I just don't think that, and I think Tyreek Hill, he just went for the bag and is not going to be as good as people think. We're going to go to a very, very quick break right now. The Harvey, I'll be back in just 30 seconds.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
Podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor? Watch on Spotify.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey.
Hello.
And for our last topic today, I want to talk about Deshaun Watson. So news broke that Deshaun Watson has secretly and quietly settled 20 of the 24 cases that was against him from 24 different women, different massage therapists working on Deshaun Watson. Now, I think that he might take this as a win. He originally said he would not settle. He said that he would fight each individual case in order to clear his name. But here's the big question mark. These settlements mean almost nothing for the NFL. The NFL still has to make its call on what to do with Deshaun Watson. And there's still 4 cases they still needs to either settle, which I don't think he will, or he'll have to fight them individually. And I understand throughout the show I've been talking about the fact that Deshaun Watson isn't suspended yet, so we have to keep going with the notion that he won't be. But I said this before, you said originally he would be suspended 4 games. I'm still sticking with my year. And it could be even more.
You're thinking he's going to be suspended for a whole year?
And that's how the Browns structured his contract.
I think he'd be suspended maybe for 6 games, not 4.
I just think at this point now, there's been so many women that have come out talking about Deshaun Watson.
He's going to be suspended. Even if he reaches agreement with all of them, he's still going to be suspended because it's a character thing, and the NFL can't overlook what he did.
I just think that...
So I hope you're right. I hope he gets suspended the whole year.
Well, that's how his contract is set up. That because the Browns knew going into this.
He's not going to make much money the first year.
He has a base salary of $1 million in the first year.
Yeah.
So I think they knew that he would probably be suspended this year. Who knows anymore? But I guess you could argue the fact that Deshaun Watson didn't play at all last season based on just the Texans' choice of not playing him. He wasn't suspended officially. The Texans themselves suspended him from playing. So you could argue saying, well, I was suspended last year. I didn't get to play. But then the NFL come back and be like, it's not an official suspension. We have to make the decision to suspend you. So I just think, you know what? The fact that it's this many women talking, 24 women, with the potential that it's 66. That's the
66, huh?
It's a potential of 66.
Wow.
Nothing has come out about whether the 42 other women, if that's the case or not. But right now it's 24 that have sued Deshaun Watson. He settled 20 of them, so I guess that's a minor victory for him. But he still needs to fight for, and just this image thing.
He's got a terrible mess there. It's not going to get it sorted out so quickly, and even if it does, the NFL's not going to let him off the hook. I think if he got them all sorted out, then I don't think he'd get suspended the whole year. But you might be right. He may be out for a whole year.
I just think that
it's okay with me.
That's the way it's
looking.
looking. And this also, Roger Goodell has to proceed with a lot of caution because he's also dealing with the Washington Commanders and was named Dan Snyder, who had his own thing of making a toxic working environment. They had the thing with the cheerleaders earlier this year, that coming out. They had a whole situation. The Commanders are not looking in a good place right now. And Roger Goodell is at the helm of that.
Daniel Snyder is suspended. Who cares about him? He doesn't play.
It's an image for the NFL.
Well, I know. He's going to have to do something about it.
And that's why Roger Goodell needs to walk very lightly. He has to tread lightly.
Yeah, and this is a white-black type thing too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a race could be viewed as a racist type situation.
It could be.
Snyder's got to be punished sort of equally severely as Deshaun Watson, for sure.
I think it doesn't need to be as severely because these are two separate situations.
No, but I understand that. But the ultimate, whatever the punishment is, it's got to be seen as kind of equivalent to what.
I would say the punishment needs to fit the crime that.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
It can't be the fact that Dan Snyder had made a toxic work environment, all this stuff that's happened under his watch, and he gets what? He gets suspended for what? Like he doesn't get
4
suspended
games,
for games or something like that.
And to me,
I
don't think it's suspension. It's fines and draft picks.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like he would lose. He would get
won't be
fined
suspension.
Like $100,000 or something like that. Small.
Yeah, it'll be some sort of fine and draft picks. Right.
So
it should be a number 1 pick, right?
I don't think it should.
I mean, look at the punishment on the Patriots for the Spygate and the Deflategate.
Well, the Deflategate came out as complete BS.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but they lost the first round pick.
They lost a lot from that.
Yeah.
So I think, yes, I think that in order to make sure the NFL sort of rebuilds its image back from these two pretty critical situations, I think the punishment definitely needs to fit the crime in the general perspective of the mass of the fans and of the rest of the teams. Because 31 other owners also have a view on this. You have 52 starters or 52 players on each roster that also have to look at this and saying, that's the leader of our league. That's the head figure of our league.
I know.
And he's doing this.
I agree.
So I think Deshaun Watson, the rumor is coming out that he'll probably get suspended for a year, and that's how it's looking. And I agree with that. I think he should get suspended for a year because it's just the look of it. And who knows if what took place actually took place, or if it's just he said, she said, but it's also he said versus she said.
Yeah.
So, and all the stories are relatively the same. So I think it's a very, very bad image for the NFL.
Yeah.
So I think punishment should be, it should definitely. I think it should be severe, just because of the look of the look of the NFL, the look the NFL will have if they say, well, 4 games, 24 women came out and sued you for what, I guess sexual misconduct or whatever it was. I'm not sure the exact charges of it were, but I just think punishment has to fit the crime. But we're gonna wrap it up here for today's episode of the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We're the Harvey Hour. We'll see you guys tomorrow about the same time, 6 p.m., 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you guys then.
Bye.